Chucky Hepburn was just standing there, watching everybody else fight for a rebound. Ball just magically came to him right in the shooting pocket, put it up, won the game for Louisville, 75 to 73 victory over Stanford. This game had a lot of back and forth. It looked like Stanford was going to run away with a 15-point lead second half. Then Louisville ripped off that huge run, was up eight, a couple minutes left to play. Stanford ties it. It was just a wild second half in this game, Riley. But the Cardinals, not the Cardinal, the Cardinals emerged victorious. What allowed them to do so and rip off that run in the second half?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It was Chucky. It started and ended with him. I thought like he took over really during that 12-0 run. It felt like he hit big shot after big shot. He hit the big three, and then had that crazy dime to James Scott that put them up five late. I believe the score was 70 to 65. Like he spearheaded that, and it almost felt like he willed them to victory even before the buzzer beater. I thought he was so impressive on both ends of the court, especially like when you factor in these tournament settings, a win or go home situation. He started out 1 for 5, over three from the field, three turnovers. Like he had a really rough first half to where you start to wonder, okay, is Louisville coming out rusty with the bye? Did Stanford playing yesterday? Did that actually help them acclimate a little bit more? But I just thought the way he responded in the second half was so impressive. Cleaned it up to just the one turnover, four assists, 15 points after the break. Yeah, that and I just think even like having the wherewithal to catch that ball off the tip out and drain it is I mean, it's a storybook ending to a game that, truth be told, we expected Louisville to handle business a little more easily. Sometimes teams get a little added juice in March and it doesn't go how you expect it to.
Yeah, Louisville needed Chucky to be fantastic. Him and Terrence Edwards were as well. Edwards had 25 points in this
Edwards is
game.
so good, man. I know
Didn't
he
come
missed
off the
free throws,
court.
but he was awesome.
Yeah, didn't come off the court. Louisville's not very deep right now, just with the injuries they suffered earlier this season, but not having Rain Smith hurt as well. He's still
Yeah.
fighting back from the ankle injury, and they still found a way to get it done, which you have to give them credit for that. Now, on the Stanford side of things, if Stanford had played like this for a majority of the season, they're an NCAA tournament team.
Mhm.
So, like, what did you see like looking forward? Because Sellers looked awesome. I know Reno is not coming back as a senior, but there was a Akpara I thought played pretty well. Like there were some pieces on the Stanford team that look pretty good.
Yeah, some of these guys who were showing out is kind of like, where has this been? I know Akpara played really well this tournament. He had the
Yeah.
huge steal and one against Cal, and had another one of those exact same moments in this one
Yep.
as part of that 8-0 run that Louisville used to tie the game. Getting that production out of him makes you see why they recruited him coming out of the Ivy League. And he's someone who I always thought, like, at least watching a little bit of him at Harvard, he used his size more and played a little bully ball because he's got a good frame, pretty good shooter as well. But I did have some concerns about how that would translate coming up a level, just with him not really having that same size advantage he was used to in the Ivy. But I mean, I don't know if he has another year of eligibility after this. He might not, but that would be something that you could build on. Let me check real quick. I probably should know this. Oh, he's a junior. Yeah, he
Yeah,
could play one more
he's got
year.
one. He's got one.
Yeah, so I mean that's something you can build on. You really got to try to get Isaiah Sellers back. I think he could go get he cash in on a pretty nice payday should he enter the portal. So they got to make it a priority to retain him the same way that Kyle Smith did with the Reno this past season because I mean that could be a good core on the wing. And I thought Ryan Agarwal, he's someone who another player has been so up and down throughout this whole year and it's kind of felt like he's good for like really one good thing a game. Like he provided quality minutes in this one too, to where I mean it points to what a wizard Kyle Smith is, and like in terms of coaching and maximizing a roster and everything. And I do kind of wonder, are we going to see him have a slow and steady build at like he did at Wazoo, and before you know it, like Stanford could be a sneaky dark horse in the ACC who's in the tournament more often than not. I mean, I really respect how Kyle Smith does his
Yeah.
scouting, how he finds gyms like Jalen Wells. There's no reason to think he can't do that at Stanford now and in the ACC. So
Mhm.
it's definitely, I would say, a pretty successful first season for him in Palo Alto.
Last note on Louisville. You more concerned about them because they got behind by 15, or do you feel better about them because they came back?
I would say I feel pretty good they came back. They also did what we said they needed to do against Reno. They
Yeah.
held him 7 for 16, fouled him out. Shout out Fat Edwards for getting him that critical fourth foul. Um, just as a whole, like, yeah, I would have liked to see Louisville handle him a little bit more, but I mean, it also paints a picture of how valuable Rain Smith is to this team.
Yeah.
Turns out having a guy who's hit 110 threes in a season, really valuable to what you want to do.
Someone who's familiar with Pat Kelsey's system and just thrives in it.
Mhm.
He's like something of an emotional leader
Yeah, I
for this
agree.
team.
Where are you at on that? Are you concerned about Louisville at all going forward, or do you think this is a team that can make a run in the Big Dance, maybe even win the ACC tournament with
So
a
yeah, I'm probably a little bit concerned about them because this is a Louisville team that racked up wins against the ACC
Mhm.
and not the top teams in the ACC. Like they had a pretty beneficial schedule where they played Clemson once, and they played Duke once, and they played
They,
UNC once.
they definitely didn't have to go to Chapel Hill. Let that be known. Resurgent Target skills would.
Where they got those three at home and didn't have to play either of them on the road or any three of
Yeah,
them on the
yeah.
road. So with that, the fact they had not played a quad one game since SMU in like January, there's some question about, are you getting these scenarios? How do you respond? And
Mm.
fighting back, I think tells you a lot. But you can't play like you did the first 25, 30 minutes of the game and expect to be able to come back in those games. And I know Rain Smith is hurt, and him being back may make a difference. But I am probably a little bit more concerned about that. We'll
Mhm.
see what happens in the Clemson game because I think that game will be very telling. It's the first time they will have had to play a team like that in months. So we'll see what happens. But I'm probably a little bit weary because you needed some miracles and some like really awesome play from your two
Mhm.
guards, which your two guards are awesome,
Yeah.
but they're not like that level consistently. So we'll see. We'll see.
I might push back on that a little bit. I think Hepburn and Edwards are like good enough to win two tournament games.
Oh, they're
You-
fantastic. They're fantastic, but they're not combining for 45 a night.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean?
Edwards has been on an absolute heater though. That dude is like giving everybody buckets. That's where I
This,
think like
this is
this just
his
might
time. He was giving people buckets for JMU last year too. This time,
this might just be who he is. You know, he's dude, like his last four games, 25 points, 16, 35, and 23. The dude is a bucket. He's been on fire. I don't know. I still think it's kind of real. I really like this Louisville team.
yeah. We'll find out in that Clemson game. Full preview for that game's up on the channel right now. So make sure you go check that out.